Welcome to Fluent by Story. In this video we will take you on a powerful journey through the life of Saddam Hussein, from his early struggles, rise to power, brutal rule, war with Iran, and his dramatic downfall. This story is told in clear English to help you improve your vocabulary, listening, and speaking. Let's begin. Saddam Hussein was born on April 28, 1937, in a poor village named Al-Ajah near Tikrit in Iraq, and from the very beginning his life was filled with hardship and struggle because his father either died or abandoned the family before Saddam was even born, and his mother remarried a man who was cruel and violent toward him, which made young Saddam grow up in a harsh and unforgiving environment. However, he found some guidance and direction through his uncle Karala Tulfa, who was a passionate Arab nationalist and had been involved in politics, and it was through his uncle that Saddam was introduced to the powerful ideas of Arab unity, national pride, and resistance against colonialism and Western influence, which deeply influenced his thinking and actions later in life. And as he grew older, he joined the Ba'ath Party, a group that believed in uniting all Arab countries under one strong leadership, which aimed to modernize the Arab world while opposing Western imperialism. And in 1959, when he was just 22 years old, he took part in an attempted assassination of Iraq's Prime Minister Abd al-Karim Qasim, who had removed the monarchy and was seen by many in the Ba'ath Party as a dangerous dictator, but the assassination failed, and Saddam had to flee the country, eventually ending up in Egypt, where he studied law and kept in touch with other Ba'athists. And when the Ba'ath Party briefly took power in 1963, Saddam returned to Iraq, but their rule collapsed and he was imprisoned, only to escape in 1967 and then help the party return to power through a successful coup in 1968, which brought the Ba'athists back into control and positioned Saddam as a close ally to the new president Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr, who appointed Saddam as his vice president, giving him the opportunity to build influence quietly but powerfully behind the scenes, especially by taking control of the intelligence agencies and eliminating his rivals. And during the 1970s, Saddam worked hard to modernize Iraq's economy by nationalizing the oil industry, which brought in huge profits and allowed the government to invest in education, infrastructure, and healthcare, making life better for many Iraqis. And while the country appeared to be improving, Saddam was also tightening his grip on power by watching, arresting, and executing anyone who disagreed with him. And in 1979, Saddam forced President al-Bakr to resign and became the president of Iraq, immediately launching a violent purge of the Ba'ath Party in which dozens of senior officials were accused of treason and killed, making it clear that Saddam ruled with fear and absolute control. And in 1980, hoping to take advantage of the chaos in neighboring Iran after its Islamic Revolution, Saddam invaded Iran, starting the long and brutal Iran-Iraq War, which lasted for 8 years and led to the deaths of more than 1 million people from both sides. And during the war, Saddam used chemical weapons not only against Iranian troops but also against his own Kurdish citizens, most notably in the Halabja massacre in 1988, where thousands of innocent civilians were killed with poison gas, an event that shocked the world and showed the extreme cruelty of Saddam's rule. And although the war ended in 1988 with no real victory, Iraq was left heavily in debt, and Saddam, looking for a way to rebuild his economy and assert his strength, invaded Kuwait in 1990, claiming that Kuwait was stealing Iraqi oil and refusing to forgive loans, and this led to an international crisis as countries around the world condemned Iraq's actions. And in early 1991, a US-led coalition launched Operation Desert Storm, which quickly drove Iraqi forces out of Kuwait but allowed Saddam to remain in power, though under strict United Nations sanctions that greatly hurt the Iraqi economy and caused suffering among ordinary people. Even as Saddam continued to build luxurious palaces and hold on to power by brutally suppressing uprisings by the Shia Muslims in the south and the Kurds in the north, using tanks, bombs, torture, and executions to crush any resistance. And through the 1990s, despite being isolated from the world and facing growing anger from within his country, Saddam remained in control by relying on his Republican Guard, secret police, and cult of personality, presenting himself as a strong Arab leader who stood up to the West. And while many Iraqis lived in poverty, he maintained power through fear, surveillance, and propaganda, until the early 2000s when tensions with the United States increased once again, especially after the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, when U.S. leaders accused Saddam of secretly developing weapons of mass destruction and having ties to terrorists, though no clear evidence was ever found. But still, in March 2003, U.S. President George W. Bush launched an invasion of Iraq, claiming that Saddam's regime was a threat to global peace. And within weeks, American forces entered Baghdad and toppled Saddam's government, ending his 24-year rule, though Saddam himself disappeared and went into hiding, staying underground in different places across Iraq until December 2003, when U.S. troops finally captured him hiding in a small underground bunker near Tikrit. And though he looked tired, dirty, and disoriented, he was taken alive and brought to trial for crimes against humanity, including the killing of 148 people in the town of Dujail after a failed assassination attempt against him in 1982, and the trial, which was televised, became a symbol of justice for many who had suffered under his regime, and after months of testimony, Saddam was found guilty and sentenced to death. And on December 30, 2006, he was hanged by Iraqi authorities, with his execution filmed and spread around the world, marking the end of one of the most feared and controversial leaders in modern history. And even after his death, Saddam's legacy remained deeply divided, with some Iraqis remembering him as a symbol of national pride and order, while many others remembered the fear, violence, torture, and oppression they lived through during his rule. And even today, the shadow of Saddam Hussein still lingers over Iraq, a country that continues to struggle with division, violence, and the painful memory of a man who ruled through strength, fear, and war. Thank you for watching Fluent by Story. Saddam Hussein's life is a powerful reminder of how leadership, when mixed with fear, ambition, and unchecked power, can shape, and even destroy, the destiny of millions. His story teaches us about the dangers of dictatorship, the cost of war, and the importance of justice and accountability in any society. If you learned something new or found this story useful for your English learning journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our latest real-life English stories. Each story brings you one step closer to mastering English through history, inspiration, and powerful storytelling. Keep listening, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next story on Fluent by Story.